What's y'all's boat number? 82. He was too cold to talk. It was too windy. That's one of the difficult things about trying to do live on a cold, windy morning is you can see the layers everybody's got on. He's got that thick neoprene suit on, head covered, and like it's one of those mornings it's blowing so hard right now and cold, you just want to cast and not even talk. Me and Houston laughed about it. That last cold tournament we did for the ABT 100. Me and Houston were joking. He said this is one of those tournaments where you have a buddy heater in the front and you fish for 2 hours down the bank in that morning and never talk. It's like it's so cold you don't even talk. We had several of those fish in the ABT. You just go find a bank and fish down the bank and just try to not even move, just cast, and it's too cold to talk. It's too cold to retie. You keep throwing the same bait. It's just freezing. Miss Kay said we've got some little bit of issues on Facebook Live, so hopefully our YouTube Live is still going strong. If y'all are watching on YouTube, drop a comment down below where you're from. I know Miss Kay's watching those comments pretty closely, and I forget the number. I know she's trying to figure out Facebook right now, but what'd she say there was like 12 or 16 states this year in the ABT? Something, a big number, much higher than I thought it was. I didn't realize we were represented in that many states. Please comment down below where you're watching from this morning. Last week we covered some guys from Florida. They were catching them really good on Lake Jordan. They said they were hunting for grass and they could never find it, but they were, I don't know, I just think it's cool. We've got such a strong schedule in the ABT that we've got, I'll ask her in a little bit whenever she gets back on, but 12 to 16 different states represented. That's a really neat number. Kay's saying, I just got it in my ear, that we've got Kentucky, what'd she say, Crestview, Florida, and Holly Pond, Alabama. I would imagine those folks are sitting, hopefully on the couch or at the table with a warm breakfast and a warm cup of coffee. If you have a warm coffee right now, please think of me, because my face is, I can hardly talk. I was trying to say a sentence earlier and my mouth wasn't working. It's cold out here. It's windy and cold. Oh, we got a fish here in front of us too. I'm running my mouth. Oh, it's a drummer. It's a drummer. All right, well, as much fun as we're having up here in the Horseshoe, sounds like Jason is now on, I believe he said Leaf Hits down near the Natchez Trace Bridge. Jason, I'm gonna throw it over to you so I can cover my face up and try to warm up a little bit.
Look, I do not want to hear any whining about warming up today, because you ran maybe, half a football field to get to where you are. We made a run. We put in this morning at Culvert Landing at Trace Bridge, and thankfully we did We got in about the time that everybody else was taking off, so we had a little time to sit in the water and get the heated seats warmed up. But once we got going, I'll just say it was, as Lee just said a minute ago, a pretty bumpy ride as we headed this way. And we made a quick run of a short run, but it was really, really windy. The wind's blowing the current pretty strong right now. We are right here with Lee Pitts. We're gonna let the other guys get settled down and get on some of them. A lot of guys made the run this way as I look on the tracker. So we're definitely gonna have some action today down here. Lee got started and just said, man, I just want to sit down for a minute and get focused, because it was a pretty good little run to get here. This is boat number 13, Lee Pitts and Steve Engel. Of course, no fish in the box at this point because we just got started, but the sun's kind of starting to break through the clouds. As we look back towards the bridge, I do see a bunch of teams still running, but I do see some guys starting to set up out here. So teams are coming this way. Dane, tell us a little bit about what's going on up there. I mean, how many fish catches you seen already today?
I've seen several fish catches, but we're on one of the prettiest. Look, I love a blacked out with like this charcoal phoenix, and this has nothing to do with sponsored plugs. It's convenient that it is a sponsored plug, but it has nothing to do with a sponsored plug. This is just my opinion. That is a beautiful boat. Blacked out logos, blacked out power poles, blacked out Phoenix, the chrome logo. That is a clean rig, but this guy just caught a smallmouth. Looks to be 2.5 to 3 pounds. First one I've seen them put in the box, but they've caught several drum in a row. 3 or 4 drum in a row, and then this is the first smallmouth I've seen them put in the box.
Bass Trail.
I don't know that it is their first fish, but it's too cold. I've asked them 2 questions and they can't even hear me, and I'm yelling them, so I'm just giving them their space and letting them fish. But they're making the same cast. They're just spot locked, throwing, I would imagine, that same rock pile. They're all bundled up, so they can't. I've asked them 2 questions, they couldn't hear it. Let me see if I can get in a little closer and figure out what their boat number is. Hey guys, what's your boat number? 217. 217, awesome. How big was that one? 2 pounds. Is that your first keeper? Cool. 2 pounds, boat number 217, first keeper.
It's just to show that they may have a lot of action that way, but we're now catching another pack coming this way right now.
Oh, another bite. I just got a text from a former Alabama Bass Trail champion, Houston Calvert. He says, I thought it was 65 degrees. No, sir, it is a little chillier than that. It was 65 yesterday. I wore shorts driving to Florence, and after dinner when I walked out, it was not 65 anymore. By the time I got to the hotel, the wind was probably blowing 20 at the hotel, and I don't know what it is now, but it's very windy and very cold. But this here, I've heard Houston say 100 times, that's a clean Phoenix. This is what Houston Calvert, if y'all want his opinion, Houston would say this is a clean Phoenix. Black and that charcoal, that's like the Night Rider edition. If I could name the color of that rig, it'd be the Night Rider edition.
Darian, I will tell you, today is the day you appreciate the ride of a Phoenix coming down this way.
I bet. Well, when you said heated seats, I totally forgot that was a thing. And I just imagine that feels
that's
nice
just the
on
comfort
the tush
point,
this morning.
Yeah, the PHX ride definitely put it to shame today, because nobody else has that kind of ride for sure. So we appreciate that this morning when we're rolling white capping down here, blowing the current.
I can hear splashes in my audio from wherever you're at. It's not
and
quite that
and
splashy.
we're in a calm spot.
We're in a safe zone where y'all are.
We're on the north bank.
No,
thankfully, the wind's blowing out of the north, but if you get out there in the middle right now, it's rough, boy. But you know what? That says about these guys here. They don't care. They're going. We're going today. We're going to catch them.
No.
I mean, to make a run here, I'm sitting probably 20 to 30 miles from where you are right now. So, guys have made a 30-mile run this morning in rough conditions. And some guys are still running
They're
past
tougher
us.
than me if they can do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 35-minute ride in the truck. How many teams you got around you right now?
It's a lot. There was a few have left, but it's like as packed as you would imagine in here, especially all the way up to the very front, where those big boulders are that are sticking out of the water. There's a name for that, and I can't remember the name for it. Houston wouldn't remember, and he'd make fun of me that I don't know it. But all the way at the very top, I bet there's 20 boats up there, and then on the right side of the horseshoe, there's a bunch of current floating on the right side, and I think that's what they call the little shoe, maybe. Houston is probably watching this, making fun of my knowledge, but the little shoe, there's a current seam running through there, and there's probably 10 boats lined up on that one, and so it's healthy in here. There's a lot of boats, a lot of people moving is the main thing. They're sitting on a spot, and then you can tell like they keep eyeballing probably where they found fish at in practice, because it's like no one's gotten settled down yet on their spots.
We had another team kind of move in here and fish the same stretch with Lee, and look back behind us. We had about 4 or 5 teams doing the same thing. So I don't know if we're at this point we're trying to stay out of the wind, or we're just maybe these guys have found a group of fish right along through here. so small. Soft plastic saw swim baits moving. Really hard to tell. Looks like definitely swimming. Could be a jig, swim jig. I do see other teams starting to set up around us now.
Well, I don't know if we're gonna, maybe in a little while we'll get to see that fish, but that was a pretty good one. 3.5 smallmouth. That was one of the boats we saw catching several fish this morning. And if you look to his right is the boat we saw earlier catch one too. So that seam, for whatever's going on, they're catching a lot of fish. But like I've mentioned a couple times, there's so much going on. We just kept our distance, especially over where they're at. There's a lot of current. So if I get close to them, it gets kind of weird and we're having a little bit of trolling motor issues. So just staying away, watching them fish. But the main, I wanted to show, if we can, maybe in just a few minutes, we'll get set up. Everybody's throwing very similar baits, all throwing swim baits. And obviously that's kind of a main thing up here by the dam. If we can get turned around, I'm gonna, so there's not as many boats back that way towards the back, but when we aim back up here towards the dam, you can see there's a lot of boats. And I did want to show, last week we showed, everyone was kind of doing the live scope thing last week. Forward facing sonar was obviously a main hit, but this week everyone's swim bait drifting is going to be one of the main things today, especially up here. This is the new Rapala's Crush City. This is the Mayor, designed by Jacob Wheeler. It's a little swim bait. This one's 4 inches long, and everyone's throwing this exact same size. This color is gizzard shad, and you can see that's just a perfect little gizzard shad imitating swim bait. It's new by Rapala, and that's pretty much what everyone's throwing up here, whether it's a different color or a little bigger, a little smaller of a swim bait, but something like that's a bait fish imitator. And the good thing that I was talking about earlier with this watercolor is you're able to use these real natural colors, which I've seen be a big deal up by the dam, is you want natural. There's so much bait up here. You can see them chasing every now and then. There's a lot of bait fish, so a natural presentation, something like a swim bait, slow drifts in it in the current, but the watercolor is almost perfect to be able, so you don't have to use all those heavy chartreuses and really dye your baits. Natural colors are working. You can see everyone's throwing them today. So something like this, Rapala Crush City, they're a new sponsor of the ABT, and you know, I don't know, maybe pick some up if y'all are wanting to go fishing. Grab a pack of those at Academy. We'll get back set up on these guys. Oh man, it's windy. For those of you who are at home and you don't realize this, it is very windy. And it's cold wind too, it's not hot wind.
Got one of them coming in the boat here. Now I get a better look at that bait. Looks like he's throwing a red crankbait at this point. So not one definitely we want to weigh in at the end of the day, but at this point we'll get us one in the box, and if it measures and go on. Not long enough. It's a good sign though that we're catching fish. Definitely what we want to start doing. All right, Miss Kay, we got a couple teams we need to jump around to get on. I'll take it back to you in the trailer and kind of just get us caught back up from what's been happening this morning. So off to you, Miss Kay.
Welcome back to Pickwick Lake, McFarland Park in Florence, Alabama. You're seeing a shot of the iconic bridge there at McFarland, and that's what we're talking about. A number of the anglers, about 50 or so boats, took a left and went up to the dam underneath that bridge. The rest of the field, they headed down toward where Jason is at the Natchez Trace Bridge, but we're going to come back in just a little bit. Hopefully Luke will be out on the water. We'll be able to get you some more coverage up there by the dam, as well as let Jason move around and get on another team. But we'll be right back. We're going to take a commercial break. We'll see you right back here on Pickwick Lake, Florence, Alabama.
The Alabama Bass Trail is brought to you by Phoenix Boats, Landers McClarty Chevrolet, McGraw-Webb Chevrolet, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors.
At Phoenix Boats, our passion for fishing is obvious. Whether it's a pro event or fishing with our family and friends,
we truly love the sport of fishing.
That's why our goal is to make every single Phoenix boat that goes out the door the best fishing platform it can be in both design and construction.
We love to fish as much as anyone, and we believe it shows in every boat we build.
Phoenix Boats, built by anglers for anglers.
It's that time of year. The Landers McClarty Chevrolet Red Tag event is on. We're talking $15,000 off select new Silverado 1500s. That's a holiday savings extravaganza. The 2024 Equinox is here. It's easy on the gas, easy on the eyes, and easy on the payments too. As low as $196 a month for a brand new 2024 Equinox. It's the Landers McClarty Chevrolet Red Tag event, saving you a whole lot of green. Only at the big store on University Drive in Huntsville.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had.
Yeah, throw me in a Ned BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man.
If you overfeed him, he's gonna hide under a log.
The perfect checking account doesn't exist. Not at a bank, that is. So why do you keep looking there? At AmFirst, you can get no minimum balance or monthly fees, an instant issue debit card, and free checks with unlimited check writing. But who doesn't want more? Like a rewards program you'll actually use, and convenient digital tools that make it easy to manage your account from anywhere. Now you could try and find that at a bank, or you could save yourself the trouble by checking with us.
Stetson Blaylock, Todd Otten, Hank Terry, let's go!
Garmin LiveScope, I tell you right now, if you don't have it, you are behind. It's just wild. It's like a video game.
If you do not have that Garmin LiveScope, you are definitely missing out.
Bassmaster Classic Champion!
I grew up in the South. I love it here. Like I love the homemade taste of Jack's. Right now, get our Bacon Ranch Big Jack. All beef patties, crispy bacon, and yeah, homemade ranch. Southern style. Ain't no other way. We're good, hard-working people serving great food. Big game today!
Big game today.
Good luck! Come on in for our Bacon Ranch Big Jack or get our classic with crinkle cut fries starting at $5.49. Stop by and say hey. Hey! I'm Donna Davis, and I am all about the South.
Welcome back to Pickwick Lake, the first stop of the Alabama Bass Trail North Division. Kicking it off here in Florence, Alabama, 225 boats, 450 anglers battling for over $64,000 out on the water today with a $15,000 first place prize. And so far this year, we are batting 1,000, 2 tournaments and 2 Phoenix First Flight winners, adding an additional $8,000 to that first prize. So I'm sure somebody'd like to walk away with $23,000 today. I know I would. I see Jason is up on a team, and I recognize that boat. That's Tracy Robinson and his son Dustin Robinson. So we're going to try to get back out to Jason. I know they've boated a fish, but we'll get out with Jason and see if he can tell us what they have in the boat. So Jason, we'd love to hear you say they've got a limit of 5.
I would think they would love to hear you say got a limit of 5 as well, but we just pulled up on Mr. Tracy Robinson. Tracy, I saw y'all put one in the boat. How many you got?
We got 3.
They got 3, so we're on the way to the limit of 5. That's really good. And they're boat number 220, and man, you guys made it down here quick.
We're boat 220. We've only made maybe a dozen cats.
That's right. I saw you guys pull up, and I said, man, we must be in a good area this morning. So tell us, Tracy, a little bit about kind of breaking this down from practice. How did you guys find these fish?
Had a rough practice here on the lake. Obviously, you know, the water came up 5 or 6 feet while we were here this week. So a week ago, the water was about 5 feet lower than what it is. So you can see right now, we're sitting in 5.7 foot of water right where our boat is. So this was basically dry land last week. These fish, the water temperature, you know, coming up, got up in the mid-50s. These fish are wanting to come shallow, but with all the current and crazy weather, they're struggling to really commit to anything. So, fished a lot of stuff for practice. And at 1 o'clock on yesterday, I stumbled into this little cove and found a pretty good little batch of fish that had moved up. And caught 3 or 4 fish in one cast and just got out of here. Pulled in this morning and caught 3 pretty quick, so we feel pretty good about it right now. But it was a disaster of a practice.
Yeah, with that water coming up so quick, I mean, the fish really don't even know what to do at this point, I don't think. They want to go to the bank, but now we got a cold front on top of them.
Yeah. They're just sitting right here on this little 5-foot shelf right here, just waiting. Go in reverse right here. I kind of like to get this boat off my juicy spot here.
I got you. It's all about saving the area for sure.
I got 10 hours right here. We've got a fish till 5 o'clock. I just soon call the tournament right now and go weigh in. Everybody go weigh in right now.
We got 3, let's go.
3 good ones too.
That's good. That's what you want to start the morning with for sure.
First fish was a 6.
Wow. So what kind of weight you think you got?
12-ish.
12 already? Yeah. First fish was a 6-pounder, so sitting on 12 already. Work it in slow here. Try to keep it under the water. Little one. Not what we're looking for.
Had it foul hook.
Had it hooked sideways, so it made it feel even bigger. Terry's trying to protect the area a little bit. We got 3 guys around us here, and 2 of them are pretty close. So he said we got to spend 10 hours fishing here today. So being about 220, they're the last flight to weigh in. It sounds like it doesn't have much other options to run. said they had a really tough practice, and like I said, this was dry ground this time last weekend. Water's come up a whole lot this week, about a foot a day. And it's still wintertime, and we are above summer pool, so that is, I want to say not normal for Pickwick, but that's why they draw it down, because flood control, water goes up and down, fluctuates. We have a lot of heavy rains move through the area, so that allow them to fluctuate the water back and forth. Floodgates have been open and both ends have been rolling this week. So lots of current, lots of water has moved through the area today. Pickwick fish really do like the current. They live in the current. Largemouth kind of get out of it best they can, but they still got to live in it in some way at Pickwick because there's always some current here. Looks like they're throwing crankbaits today and really don't have a lot of rods out on the deck, so they kind of really narrowed it down, not only to one area, but narrowed it down to what looks to be a crankbait. Swap sides with you, Mr. Cameraman. Get us facing the wind a little bit. It's one of the hard things about fishing Pickwick, especially in the summertime when the fish get out on the ledges. You really kind of have to protect your area, but you have to be willing to fish with other teams around you. And for the most part, you can't let that get in your head. It does happen from time to time where you're almost rub rail to rub rail fishing with other teams. And if you guys can work it out and get along and pick your cast and they pick their cast, work together to make a good limit. Sometimes that doesn't always work out. We've seen that in the past here where, teams have not been able to share fish or share areas, and, one team will leave and give it to them. You kind of, you're being boat 220 here. He has it all to himself when he started here, so he does, in my mind, kind of have the pick of the area. If I was fishing it, that's kind of the way I would feel. But you got to be willing to share if another team moves in on you. It's hard to do. So this game's a lot about mental. Oh, another bite there. We did talk to Lee, who's just, literally 200 yards to the left of us. He said the bite was really fickle. And he said there are some really good fish in the area. The bite's just really, really fickle. Know what team that is. I do see Spencer and Reese is back towards the bridge from us. Cox and Galtney are just down from Lee Pitts. Go way on down the lake, all the way down to Grand Harbor. We've got some teams down there, so they've made almost a 50-60 mile run to get down there. And it's teams that you would recognize that live down there and fish down there. Walker and Walker and Woolley and Woolley. Kind of call that area down there home, so you would expect them to be down that way towards Yellow Creek. Clouds are still moving in. The sun wants to break through down here. We had a lot of rain, a lot of wind overnight. Started raining when we got here last night. We had to pick it up. No, we didn't have all the action you wanted, but we got the team here, got 3 fish in the box. One of those fish is over 6, so I think that's off to a good start for them. Maybe catch us up and see what else is happening around the lake today.
On and off throughout the show over this season, you're going to hear a lot of our on-the-water analysts talking about baits. You're going to hear them talking about rods, reels, baits, line, all the things. And one of the ways that you can get in on the action is to take advantage of a discount that Academy Sports and Outdoors is offering to Alabama Bass Trail anglers and fans by texting 22369. You'll be getting text ABT, capital ABT, to 22369 for your $10 off your next purchase. And that is online and in the store. So we'll be offering different coupons and values like this throughout the year in accordance with Academy Sports and Outdoors. They are the presenting sponsor of our Winner's Tackle Box each week in and out of the Alabama Bass Trail and the Alabama Bass Trail 100. So you get to see what our guys are using out there on the water, what they're catching them with, what the winners are being successful with. But one way that you can get that at a discount is to be able to text ABT to 22369. So make sure that you're doing that. But we're going to get back out on the water because I hope that you're going to subscribe to the Academy discounts. They send me quite a few of those throughout the week, and I just bought 2 new pair of tennis shoes, so I use mine quite often. But Jason is with another team, and let's see who he's with and if they have anything in the boat. Jason?
Morning, guys. Oh, just in time. Oh, man, how about that? Just in time. What's y'all's boat number?
180.
180. Lou Kyle and Archer Cornett. Guys, how was that run this morning? It wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
Just a little summertime ride, huh?
You got the right clothes.
That's the right equipment. Got the right boat, you got the right clothes, you can make it, right?
That's right.
Well, y'all got any in the box yet?
We got 2.
What kind of size you got?
You probably got 4 pounds.
Okay. What's kind of the game plan in this area right here?
We're just going to fish around, see what happens.
How was practice?
Went real good.
Yeah, this was kind of dry land last weekend.
It was dry land. It was. Try and see what happens though.
Yeah. What brought y'all to this spot?
History.
History.
I guess. I don't know. Yeah, we didn't really have a good practice, so we didn't have nothing to start on really. So
Kind of just put your head down and go to fishing then.
Yes, sir.
I can understand that.
Y'all run down here, put in, and
We put in at Trace.
I don't blame you.
It's a nice ride in the truck down here. So we're sitting on two teams, fishing pretty close together. Both of them got a couple fish in the box. Both of them said they had a pretty difficult practice. Yeah, I think I've heard that most of the week. Guys were just saying, man, it's a difficult practice. I think it was a lot to do with the way the lake was just really changing. With the water coming up so quick and current moving so fast all at the same time. Yeah, we got muddy water today as well, and cold temperatures. Towards each other and maybe touch baits. See guys sticking their rods down in the water. These guys are starting to freeze up because the wind's blowing so hard. You know, the water temp's really warm. It's 51. But the air temperature is going up, so with the wind blowing, causes those guys to freeze up. So they'll stick it in the water and pull them out. Go again. Starting to drift away from these guys. The current is rolling the other way, but the wind wants to push you north. They did have some chance to see some good catches this morning, and we got a couple teams around us working on a good limit. While we got a little break in the action here, why don't we take a little break as well? Kick it off to a couple of our sponsors. Give you guys a chance to maybe look outside and see how cold it is.
The Alabama Bass Trail is sponsored by Rapala, VMC, Crush City, TH Marine.
Boats, our passion for fishing is obvious. Whether it's a pro event or fishing with our family and friends,
we truly love the sport of fishing.
That's why our goal is to make every single Phoenix boat that goes out the door the best fishing platform it can be in both design and construction.
We love to fish as much as anyone, and we believe it shows in every boat we build.
Phoenix Boats, built by anglers for anglers.
I leave nothing to chance when it comes to hooks. They are the most critical part of the equation.
This is truly the best hook I've ever used.
Thinner, stronger, slicker, all the pluses that you really want in a hook. That red line right in the roof of her mouth, exactly where you want to get them.
When you have the opportunity to create something good, you might as well make this great, and I think that's what we did with the Red Line series of hooks.
The TH Marine HydroWave H2 KVD Edition is a surefire way to ignite a feeding frenzy. The HydroWave utilizes a sound-emitting technology that imitates bait fish and other feeding fish below the surface that preys on the competitive nature of bass and other game fish to get you more bites. The HydroWave is another way that TH Marine has you covered from transom to trolling motor.
Big companies get bigger and bigger and talk about their fancy labs where they study fish behavior, but then they all go golfing on the weekend. We don't have a large laboratory to test baits. Why, you ask? We don't need a big laboratory because our pros fish, our employees fish, our salespeople fish, our suppliers fish, our mold builders fish, our owners fish, and our kids fish. This is our laboratory. Our R&D comes from time on the water, learning how to make fish bite. We don't have other hobbies. We fish. We fish all year in all conditions across the whole country. All that time on the water brings us thousands of hours of testing new products and improving current ones for all species. We're a family-owned U.S. company that has many of our products made in America by American workers. The products we don't make in America, we make in Guatemala, which supports many families in that country as well.
Hear that sizzling? That's bologna whispering. I'm back. The Big Bologna Breakfast Sandwich is back at Jack's. 2 thick-cut slices of fried bologna, eggs, and cheese on Texas toast for $3.99. Jack's, all about the South.
Welcome back to the Alabama Bass Trail, first stop of the North Division here at Pickwick Lake, Florence, Alabama. You're looking there at McFarland Park, and one of the premier places to do a big-time tournament. 225 boats took off from there this morning. We said about 50 or so took a left and went up to the dam where Luke is, and then the rest of them took a right and headed on up toward Jason at the Natchez Bridge. We've got Darian is staged up at around the 7 Mile Island area. He's going to be covering that area of the lake for us. Jason is still around the Natchez Bridge area, and Luke is now at the dam in the middle of all that current and all of those boats. So hopefully we'll be back out there really quick to be able to get you some more action. I do want to remind you that the weigh-in starts at 3 o'clock today. We're at McFarland Park. There aren't any bleachers here, so please make sure that you bring your lawn chairs. There's a little bit of mud and a little bit of standing water, but not bad. The Parks and Recreation Department here in Florence do a fantastic job in preparing the site for us, and we are set up under the trees where we were last May, so you'll be able to see that and sit there and watch weigh-in there at 3 o'clock. You can also tune in at alabamabasstrail.org, also on YouTube at Alabama Bass Trail TV, and always here on Facebook at Alabama Bass Trail Tournament Series. So lots of ways that you can watch. I do know it's going to be cold today, lots of wind, so if you choose to stay home, we have several options for you in being able to watch the weigh-in. 225 teams. I know Darian is specifically on a team that Luke and I talked about a little bit on the podcast this week, Brent Crow, Jimmy Mason. They're guides on this lake, but they've been on Gunnersville all weekend at a different tournament. So it'd be interesting to see how they came in here blind with no practice. But we're certainly going to get out to them just as quickly as we can. Watching Darian's camera now, we're going to go ahead and get out to Darian while he's on a team. So Darian.
Miss Kay, this may not be it may not be professional to keep my hands in my pockets this morning, but I'm gonna do that for a little while. After that run, we've finally made our way down a little bit to find Brent Crow and Jimmy Mason. Like you said, they are
200.
Both guides on the lake, and they have been fishing another tournament all week. So I'm anxious to see what they've got going on. They're in a kind of a unique area where there's a couple of rock rows in between us and them, and we haven't been able to get close enough to them to ask what they've got yet, but this might be our chance right here. Oh, it looks like they're making a run. As soon as we get to them, make a run. What y'all got? You give us some. He said we're cold. That's all that was. How far are y'all running? Okay. He said all we've got is cold hands. And he's smiling though. That's key. When you get a Brent Crow smiling when it's this cold, you know, we're just out having fun. But they're going to get it dialed in. These guys have got certainly the most experience, and I can remember growing up seeing these two, Facebook, early Facebook, just seeing their posts, and this time of year especially, they would have giant small. Both of them have giant smallmouth days. So these are going to be the guys to watch. He said they're just running a little ways, so we're gonna. They're sneaking around. There's some rocky stuff they're running around. But Jason's on. Jason, I don't know if you got anybody with some fish. We're rapidly drifting sideways. So if you've got anybody, we may throw it over to you for a little while. And
we are
go chase down Brent Crow.
Pulling up on Nolan Spencer and Jonathan Reese. So Nolan Spencer and Jonathan Reese, a team you probably know pretty well. So I'm going to give these guys, I think it's boat number 14, based on the tracker. That's what I'm seeing. Behind them a minute. Jig up front. Set back for a little bit and let these guys work. Guys, what kind of weight we got?
0.
No way. So they got none in the box right now. But I'm guessing this is a pretty good spot.
Well, I thought it was. Let's see, I don't know if the weather's got them.
It was at one point a pretty good spot, let's say that. It was at one point a pretty good spot.
Absolutely. Felt like it was. I went here Thursday, made 2 casts, 2.5. Then I fished all day Friday and struggled, didn't catch anything. So I decided to just pull up here and make another cast so I could still feel better about it. And I made 1 cast, I caught a 4.5.
Wow.
And I haven't fished it early, so I don't know if it's better in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's always been around lunch or later, so I don't know. We don't have anything else. Our plan was to either stay at the dam or come down here, and we decided to give this a try. So we'll probably sit here until we feel like we have to go to the dam and try to catch 5.
Yeah. So this is the stay away from the dam point here, right?
Do what now?
This stay away from the dam.
That's right.
Stay away from all the traffic.
That's right.
Yeah.
More boats that came down.
Yeah, there was a good, yeah. I saw y'all all running this good group together.
Y'all drive down or put in?
We put in a tray. So you've seen a 4, seen a 4.5, caught one Friday a little bigger. So this has got a good history in the afternoon more.
I really feel like up around McFarland we could catch a limit if we had to give ourselves a couple hours.
Yeah.
But you know, how hard are you going to push it, risking it, try to catch a fish? Because I really think the quality that's been here, if you can catch 5 off of it, you have a really good bag. But,
Yeah.
As of right now, I don't think we've had a bite.
Okay.
So I don't think we might do. We'll see.
We're going to slide Darian in and see Darian's up on another team as well. Guys, thank y'all for your time today. We're going to sit back and watch. Hopefully catch some of those 4-pounders.
We're going to try. Thank y'all. Yeah, so we've got boat number 106, and we pulled up, and he turned around and laughed and said, "Don't get too comfortable. We're about to make a run." That has been the case. We started in the Horseshoe this morning while Luke was doing blast off, and there was a ton of boats up there moving around. But when we kind of swapped areas, and we ran down to the 7 Mile Island area, and man, oh man, they are moving down here. I don't know if there's a lot of current, a ton of current, and so there's very specific seams that these people are looking for, and there's a lot of boats on those seams, current breaks, and so I'm imagining that guys are running to try to go get to a spot, and they see a boat's there, and then run into another one. But we talk about all the time when we're doing these events. You have these locals who have a lot of pressure that they should be catching fish. On this lake, we've covered a few of them this morning. The Donnie Becks, the Brent Crows. We're near Mitch and Candler. And the guys that just often catch them here. And we've ran down to them and chased them around this whole morning, and they're all bouncing around like crazy. And so, it's one of those things, I think, just looking for, a spot that's open that has fish, and these guys know where those are, but there's a lot of people fishing almost every single seam line or current break on the river. So it's going to be interesting, and I want to hear Luke's point of view on this later on once he gets set up and ready. But just the point of view on, he grew up here and fished this river a bunch, but you have all of these different seams all over the lake, whether they're little sneak holes, in which we've seen several people fishing, the tiniest little kick out of the bank, anything that makes a little seam, but the people are dialed on every single one of them. But Luke, just talking about this time of year and finding that spot, but then also having the confidence when people are on every single one of them, having the confidence that you can pull up on one of them that's got fish after you've seen people fishing what could be, I'm going to say air quotes, your spot all morning. But Luke, I'll throw it over to you if you're ready, but interesting point of view down where we're at.
Well, I think, Darian, growing up here, current is king, obviously, on Pickwick. And when you've got this much, we got, about half the floodgates open, so we're at 115,000 cubic feet per second. And that pushes these fish to places that they might not ordinarily be, right? So those current breaks are super important. It pushes the bait fish, it pushes the bass to those. But I think for me, growing up, like Britton and I are looking at 37 boats up here, 36, 37 last count in the horseshoe, all fishing the current seams. And when you're talking about seeing those crowds and fishing in a crowd, you get used to that in the fishing, living the tail race life up below these dams and really all over the river. Any little current break will have a lot of boats. But for me, the thing that I keep in my mind when I'm fishing this way and around a lot of boats, fishing this current, and it seems like everybody's throwing a swim bait, everybody's throwing a scrounger head or a big spinner bait or something over these same rocks. But these fish move around so much because they have to, because of the current. So you might be throwing at fresh fish constantly. And I think that some of the legends that I know from this lake that are so good at the dam, it doesn't matter if there are 500 boats or 5 around them. They're going to make that same cast to that same eddy all day long, knowing that at some point the right 5 are going to swim through there. And I think it's just the locals do have an advantage in that situation for sure in a crowd. But you can see we've got a couple guys fishing the lower point of Jackson Island, but the majority of the crowd, we're trying to stay back from everybody for the most part, but they're up right below the floodgates, the little horseshoe, the little shoe, fishing those seams, fishing those rock piles. But there's some catching going on for sure up here this morning. Plenty of boats to cover too, that's for sure. But when they've got all these gates open up here, it's like 1 million gallons of water a second that come through the Wilson Dam up here. It is absolutely incredible. And these fish, obviously it's in their DNA. They know how to deal with it. And the local anglers know how to deal with it as well. But they're just looking for something to get out of. And that's what we're seeing up here. A lot of bait, a lot of bass, a lot of drum, a lot of catfish, a lot of current. Yeah, it's to the point up here this morning, it's so crowded that I've tried not to even have the trolling motor down in the middle of them. I'm just idling around to stay in the current, not getting anybody's way, because these guys are drifting, they're cranking up, they're running back up, and they're all piled up on each other. So as we said at the meeting last night, we tried our best to bring the best live coverage we can, but we don't want to, impact anybody's ability to potentially win $15,000 today, so we're staying back out of the way best we can. And a lot of times the first couple hours up here can be a really great bite, and then it'll slow down as the boats start to buzz around, and then there's another bite that'll happen at 11 and after. It seems over the years, this time of year in particular, that kind of goes on. So you'll probably have some boats start peeling out up here, and we'll be able to ease around a little bit more. But right now it's a zoo in the shoe, to say the very least right now. Something else you see a lot of up here is there's no shortage of people losing swim bait heads and Crush City swim baits. See a lot of retying going on this morning, which is typical. I think talking about, like, to what Darian said a little earlier about local advantage and things like that, I think that's a huge advantage that nobody ever talks about, is how much tackle when you don't know how to fish the current, and even when you do, but how much tackle you go into a day knowing that you could potentially lose with the current running this fast, and it will beat you down mentally. I've taken folks from out of town, you know, over the years, fishing below Wheeler and Wilson Dam a lot, and they get so frustrated because of the amount of swim bait heads you lose and baits that you donate to the bottom of the Tennessee River. But you almost have to just bypass that and know you're putting your bait where you need to put it. But it can be frustrating. It can work on you, especially when it's cold and miserable like it is this morning. Typically, this time of year, the water's, you know, 4 to 5 feet lower than it is right now. Came up with all the rain, and when the floodgates are open, obviously it's like putting the stopper in the bathtub. It fills this upper end up very fast. So where you typically have to be careful easing around in the horseshoe and during winter pool, right now you can kind of run around up here wherever you want to. We're seeing that guys running in and out pretty good bit. But you can see there, we've got them scattered from just outside of where the gates are spilling into the little shoe over to the back side, very back part of the horseshoe towards the dam. Not as many out in front of what the new unit, as we call it, and on that side, that's where the majority of that floodgate water and what they're generating out, they typically generate, they've got it kicked up out there, but we're not seeing anybody on that side of Jackson Island, the south side, and it's kind of surprising me, to be honest, because those seams over there normally play when these gates are open, and there's nobody on that side. It's still not as high as it was. If you folks watching at home remember the crazy fish catch Steve Kennedy made in the Bassmaster Elite in March a couple years ago, I believe that was 2021 now. He was way up past the little shoe. You can see the water was actually in the trees that are on dry ground growing through the rocks right now. So it was a lot higher then, so you can actually push further than a lot of our anglers are getting to when the water gets a lot higher. It's not for the faint of heart, though. It's like fishing in a Class 5 rapid. I believe we got Darian back with us now. Darian, who have you caught up with?
Well, I'm on boat number 26, and they've doubled up. One looks like it could be a catfish or a drum, and I'm hoping the back is about a 5-pound smallmouth. I hope, but we can't confirm that yet. And it's not. It is a little catfish. We might be on a little catfish hole right here. He does say they've got one. Y'all said y'all are boat number 26? 26. Yes, sir. Doubled up catfish.
Drum and a catfish. We've been killing the drum.
He said we've been killing the drum. There's not any bass. see their techniques. They're both throwing up current. They're both throwing little swim baits like that one I showed you earlier, and just kind of washing it down the current, natural flow, bring their bait back with the current. That's going to be something we see often. These guys actually won last year at an event at Neely Henry with an 8-pounder, and you know, maybe if they could pile up all these catfish, they'd get to that winning weight. But this is a spot I just fishing this lake a bunch. This is I would say community hole type of spot that they've got to themselves. It produces a lot of fish, and a lot of big fish get here. It's a current break seam that's a pretty popular one. They've got to themselves, and I've seen 2 or 3 boats run over to this area and then kind of turn and bail out last second when they realize there's somebody here. So hopefully these guys are onto something good. How's practice here?
Just a lot better than it is now.
Fish on in the back.
Fish are here to be caught all over. It's more of a timing deal than it is anything.
Drum. Alright, I want to point out one thing. I'll kind of keep quiet when I say this. He said fish are all over this spot to be caught. It's just kind of the timing thing. That is code word for we smashed them in practice right here. I need Luke to confirm that, but I've heard that saying many times, and everyone that always says it smashes them. So for people watching back home, if you ever hear that, the fish are all over here to be caught, it's just a timing thing. That pretty much means we caught it really, really, really good at practice. But they're too humble. Oh, fish on in the front too. Oh, we got live action, buddy. This is premium TV. This is what y'all ought to be paying $4.99 a month for a subscription to this. It's a big one too. He says drum. Okay, well, I don't know if she's been working on the Alabama Drum Trail, but this would be probably your new leaders. We had an Alabama Drum Trail. Katie, have you ever considered the Alabama Drum Trail?
Actually, Darian, I have not.
Yeah, we'd probably be angry.
I'm going to be real honest. The Alabama Bass Trail keeps me more than busy. So I'm going to let some other entrepreneur try the Alabama Drum Trail.
Well,
the only drum line I'm interested in is that is something.
So y'all think the smallmouth are piled in here with them? That it's just a timing thing to get them to bite?
Oh yeah, wherever the drum are is where the bass are,
yeah.
Without a doubt. You're gonna catch him regardless.
Yep.
Throw anything that looks like a shad, you're gonna catch the drum.
Look, there was another identifier too. I'm gonna keep quiet again just out of respect because we are really close to these guys. I said, think the smallmouth are piled in with them? Oh yeah. Where the drum are, the bass are. I'm telling you, these guys, I don't know how long this can't let us sit here, but if we could sit here, these guys will smash at some point in the day. I can't wait to see what these guys weigh in because I can promise you, I've heard 2 very confident responses, trying to be humble and we're grinding, but no, they know what's here. I bet there's a lot of fish here. prediction is he's going to catch one on this cast, that front casting. He threw way up current. He's been kind of throwing more of the slack water. That one he threw way up in the current, where that riprap is. I'm just going to take a guess he's going to catch it.
Anglers fishing for 15 grand. They're like, why are you in there? Why? Yeah, they're not happy with me. I'm trying to be as quiet as I can be. We're close though. Does anything else, buddy? Okay. Okay. What?
We are pulling up on the team of Mitch Mitchell and Chandler McCollum. Just boated a fish and released it. As you can see, we are back in the Natchez Trace Bridge area. You can see how rough it is out here now. Almost like fishing at the beach. All right, guys, how many we got in the box? How many y'all got?
We ain't got any yet.
Come on now. I seen y'all moving around a little bit. You finally made it down here closer to where I was, so thought we'd catch up with y'all. Gets rough, isn't it? Looks like we're throwing spinnerbaits here. And swim bait. How was practice?
Everything's gonna be blown out. It's probably a new day.
A lot of changes. Oh. It's just bumping a spinnerbait home. Kind of, if I remember this area right, this kind of little creek kind of runs in right here and runs back over to our left. It's kind of like got a little hump out here. Probably got some grass on it today. All the current lately has probably blown some of this grass out. The guys said they had a pretty good practice. But definitely today is a new day. Just bumping that grass. The cameraman skins off to the left. You can actually see some of the grass sticking up out of the water. Just grass patches are kind of breaking loose and getting pushed downstream. So you gotta fight the currents, you gotta fight the waves, you gotta fight the wind. On the tractor that kind of bounced around a couple spots to make their way down this way. They made a pretty good long run to start with and then fished a couple of different areas. We've been kind of watching them, thinking that they were going to make it down here to us and hope to be able to get on them. blades on it. It was white, big willow leaf blades. Pretty nice. Let's get that vibration we need with this muddy water. So you may say, why are we sitting on a team here that doesn't have any fish and fish in rough water, and you know, what's the big deal about them? Well, this team is tied for the most wins in ABT history. These guys have some really good options to win. I mean, they're winning teams, so we want to get around them and see what they actually do to win. So getting out here, really taking their time to work through the rough waves and rough water. Got to put your boat in the areas that the fish are. You got to put your bait down there. So they're willing to brave the conditions to hopefully come out and be the winningest team in Alabama Bass Trail history. So if they win today, would move them ahead of Kobe Carden. Of course, that's what they're hoping for. Got Trace Bridge in the background there. Darien is just north of there, or some guys may call it east of there. That's where the bridge is, where Luke's got it all going down. Looks like these guys are going to make a run. We're going to let them do their thing. Guys, appreciate your time today. Y'all hang in there, all right? It does smooth out down here, I'll say that. It doesn't. It's rough right here, but y'all know it smooths out. Can run a little better. Y'all be safe. You ready, Mom?
So we ran up a little ways, and another real popular current break. When they're moving a lot of current, this is another community hole where a lot of guys will sit. It can only hold 2 or 3 boats here, and as soon as we sat down, one of the boats put a keeper in, put one in the box. It was a small fish. We haven't been able to talk to him about it. Just the way that they're casting, they're kind of throwing at us, so we haven't had time to really get in close to them yet, but we're sitting out. I don't know how well y'all can tell, but if you aim at the back of the engine right now, you can see how fast the current's moving off the back of the boat. If you can maybe look back behind the, I don't know how well we can tell this on the camera, but yeah, we can see it good now. So the current is just blowing through here, and we've got, this camera boat that I'm in has got the Garmin Force trolling motor. And again, look, this isn't even a shameless plug. I just got assigned this boat, and I'm just giving props to this trolling motor. This has nothing to do with it being a sponsor of the Alabama Bass Trail for many years in a row. It has nothing to do with that. But this is a very strong trolling motor. I'm not even touching it. We're in the strongest current we've seen all day, and she's, I think they call this one anchor lock. Garmin calls it anchor lock. But we're just holding right here in the middle of the current and watching these guys catch fish. And again, that had nothing to do with the sponsor plug. That was just, I'm just calling a spade a spade. If it's good, we'll say it's good. I know Houston Calvert was watching live earlier, and he was texting me. He's in Miami. It's 85 degrees. But story about me in Houston, one time fishing an ABT event here on Pickwick. It was in the early spring. It might have been March. And we had a decent little limit of fish. And we were running back up to weigh-ins. We had probably 20 minutes left when we got to this exact spot where we're sitting right now. And Houston said, let's stop here and make a couple casts. I caught 2 back-to-back 4-pound smallmouth, sitting almost exactly where we're at right now. Back-to-back 4-pound smallmouth. We rushed to weigh-ins and ended up having a really, really good bag of fish. I don't know, I think we might have finished in the top 10 or maybe top 15 or something right here at this exact spot. So kind of cool to be back here. It was very cold. It was this cold too, but I'm excited to get in a little closer to these guys because they look very dogged. You can see they're both fishing off the back deck. They're inside the current, and they're actually, it's like they're fishing the slack water. Both of these boats are. They're not fishing really the seam lines. We're gonna try and work our way in a little bit closer and try to get on the inside of these guys. The way they're casting, it would be helpful for us and we'd be able to talk to them a little closer. Jason, I'm gonna turn it over to you for a little while. I'm gonna try to sneak in behind these guys. I've kind of figured out my path. I just heard you said you're on somebody now though.
Yeah, we made it to boat 184. Chris Blackwood and Larry Melvin. Guys don't have any fish in the box yet, but definitely in a little bit better protected area than we were earlier. Fishing the north bank here, as you can see in the background, the Tracy Ridge is still there. We kind of started heading back down after Mitch and the crew headed back down as well. So we're just kind of bouncing around. We got a couple more teams around us fishing this same bank, so we're gonna bounce through them real quick. Current kind of runs right into this bank. It does make the bend down the waist just a little bit, but as it comes wide open, crashing into this bank right here, so that definitely should be pushing some bait fish, pushing the fish up here. So lots of opportunities right in here. You see we got the spinning rod out, so we're maybe shaky heading. Well, it looks like we got a crankbait up front. So this again, boat 184, Chris Blackwood and Larry Melvin. think we're going to bring back the voice of the Alabama Bass Trail, Mr. Luke Duncan. Still up there at the dam, Luke?
I am hanging in here by the concrete today, Jason.
Have you?
And so are a lot of my rowdy friends. there are phoenixes for days up here.
Have you got a raft out and just decided to float down yet? I mean, it'd be a good tubing day up there, right?
Actually, I'll be honest. You could do that. This is certainly a day I think I could, without a trolling motor and without the big motor, turn the Yamaha off. I could probably drift to you pretty quick. It's cooking pretty fast. But until I got down to about the lower point of 7 Mile and that wind starts blowing against the current, that might slow me down a little bit. But we are power pole down, man. We got it made in the shade. We're hiding out from everybody because there's so much moving and shaking going on. People jockeying for position on these seams. Britton and I decided just to kind of get out of the way. And right now, I can see close to 20 boats. It's a scene, man. I have seen more than this up here. We counted 36 earlier, but we've got some behind us and above us here right now fishing this floodgate water. Not a lot of catching, though, to be honest, in the last 30 minutes or so.
Huh.
Seen some trash fish. Imagine that.
I said you and Darren both have been on the drum trail today, so.
I did see a catfish get snagged in the tail. That was kind of exciting. But other than that, it's fun watching these guys try to do battle with this current. You know what I mean? Like it's such a unique situation, really, to the Tennessee River and these tail races, in my opinion, and some of the Coosa River lakes.
Yeah.
Fish on? There we go. Nope.
I think I hear Darren got a fish on.
You got a rock pile here?
Hung up again.
Yeah. Well, what boat number you say y'all were? 154. And he said we got one fish, and I said, well, is it a big one? And he said, yeah. I said, really? He said they got a smallmouth over 5 pounds. But they've only got one keeper.
That's what we like to see.
Yeah, he said it's a big one. And he said he just caught a 14.5-inch smallmouth and had to throw it back. And he said it'll suck the life out of you. You got to throw that one back. He said he measured it 5 times, and every time it was still, it never changed. It was 14.5.
Oh, looks like we got a fish on here.
Oh, fish catching. McGee is going on.
Oh, a little fish catching action. Net man's coming in. Either that is a super limber rod. Oh, we got a big one. Oh, we got a big one.
What's y'all's boat number? 105. Y'all got any? Got 5. How? Cool. Y'all casting this way any? Okay.
Add one more to, I believe, the drum competition, if anybody's looking to enter that this weekend.
How big are we talking?
I bent the net over and he's got him in the bottom of the boat right now, so I'm trying to scoot up a little bit so my cameraman can get some eyes on it too, so maybe a 5-pounder, I'm guessing. Oh, yeah,
that's big for what we've been seeing.
That's eating size right there.
All we've been seeing is 1.5, 2-pound drums. I saw one, maybe 2, 2.5 pounder. All right,
Felt good for a minute, didn't it?
I said 105.